like the key information. So since we're going to use the algebraic method to solve a system algebraically, we're going to use by substitution. Okay, these are our steps. You need to memorize and apply. Okay, so I'm just going to add on here underline star that you need to make sure you can memorize, and I'll tell you which ones to focus on and apply to a problem. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the key information in the step, and I'm going to talk about some things to do for that step. Step 1 says isolate a variable in one equation if they're not already isolated. So basically, you just need to isolate a variable in one equation. To isolate it, it needs to look like x equal or y equal. Okay? Are y'all following the key information? Now, that means you pick whichever variable is easier to isolate. So you will have to be able to look at the equations and pick the one that is the easier one. That's step 1. No additional step or additional information. Step 2, anytime I talk about substitution, you have to use parentheses. So to substitute the expression for the isolated variable into the equation. So anytime we're going to say to substitute, you're going to have to use parentheses to show substitution. And I'm going to abbreviate substitution for SUB. Okay? So please add that to your notes. Okay? Then, step 3, you're going to solve the remaining equation. This requires you to distribute and solve for the variable. So to solve the remaining equation, you will need to distribute and solve for the variable. Step 4 is substitute again. Okay, substitute the value of the variable that you just solved for into the equation of the isolated variable. So because you're going to substitute after you solve, you substitute again. Anytime you substitute, you have to use parentheses. So you need to get in a habit of using parentheses when you substitute. Now, step 5, check your answer by substituting the x and the y for each solution into the original equation. Step 5 is optional. It'll say check if they want you to check, but it's just, we're going to practice that, but I'm not going to ask you to always do step 5. It's just a way for you to check your answer. Does anyone need those first 4 steps, like the key information and the steps? All right, so we're going to practice. And I'll just state the step, or I'll have you state it. Okay, so look at the example on number 1. And what was step 1 again? Okay, so yes, thank you. So look at the 2 equations. What I'm going to do, guys, we're going to label them equation A and equation B. Okay? A and B. So we know what we're talking about. Between the 2 is a variable isolated. Would it be equation A or B?
B.
Why B? You're right. And
Because the x is by itself.
yes, the x is by itself. Okay, so to do step 1, basically, whenever you're isolating the step 1 ISO variable, whenever you're isolating a variable, it has to look like x equals or y equals. Do we understand that now? Okay, so this is what you're doing. We're starting with B. What the variable equals, you're going to circle. There it is. Circle that. 6y minus 5. what we circle is what gets put into the parentheses. We are plugging it. I'm going to draw an arrow pointing to the X. I'm plugging what I'm circling up into A for X. Okay, so that means we would have to write 3, then parentheses. Inside that parentheses would go the 6y minus 5. And then we write everything else in equation A, which is 3 parentheses, 6y minus 5, then minus 8y equals 15. That is step 2, substituting the expression of the isolated variable into the equation. Now we're going to solve it. What will we need to do first to solve this equation? Distribute, because I have parentheses. Okay, so I'm distributing the 3 times the 6y, which is 18y, minus 3 times the 5, which is 15. Then I just rewrite everything else. Minus 8y equals 15. So now we're going to solve for the variable. What are we going to need to do first here? Because we have an 18y minus 15 minus 8y.
Combine the like 10.
Yeah, combine the 18y minus the 8y. So how many y's are we going to have?
10.
So 10y minus 15 equals 15. So this, to solve for the y, to isolate and solve for the y, you're going to add 15 on both sides. That would cancel. I'm just going to come up here. And that would give me 10y equals 30. And so now I can divide it by 10 on both sides, and y equals 3. Okay? I'm going to box that variable. So after we substitute solve, you have to go back to what you circled. That's what you plug it back into to get to the x. So this means I'm going to do 6 parentheses. Inside the parentheses will be the 3. Then we have minus 5. That's going to equal our x. So really this becomes 18 minus 5. What's 18 minus 5?
13.
So x equals 13. Okay? Your answer, guys, are always order pair. And I know I ran out of room, but the answer would be the order pair 13, comma 3. Just like a point on the graph, that's what you're going to have as an answer. Okay? Now, to check it, you plug both of these. This is our x, this is our y, into either equation. Okay? Actually, into both equations. So, I'm going to plug it into the first one. That means I'm doing 3 times 13 minus 8 times 3 and checking, does it equal 15? Then I also do it for the second one, which will mean 13 minus 6 times 3, 13, sorry, equals 6 times 3, does it equal right here? Minus 5. Sorry. So when I do the first one, I'll come down here. The 3 times 13, that's going to give me 39, right? Y'all with me? So 39 minus 24, does that equal 15? Yes. Are we okay on that? If I check the second one, same thing. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 minus 5, yeah, that gives me 13. So it will work for both. All right, so we have 2 equations again. Actually, I'm going to put it on this side. Oops. Oops. What did I do? There it goes. Okay, so This is my A. This is my B. Which one do you want to use? Which one could we use? Yeah, you could use the A or you could use the B. They're both isolated, right? Okay, so circle what the Y equals. Circle. Draw an arrow pointing to the Y. Are y'all with me? All right, now substitute what we circle in place of Y. So I'm going to just rewrite it as instead of writing right, I'm writing what's inside the circle. So that's just going to be 3x minus 8 equals 5x plus 6. Now we're going to solve for x. To do that, we should start with the smallest variable. So where do we start? Yep, and what do we do to this 3?
Subtract it from the 5x and the 3x.
All right, subtract 3x on both sides. The x's cancel. We now have negative 8 equals 2x plus 6. All right, and what's our next step? Yeah, minus the 6, minus the 6. We now have negative 14 equals 2x. So what would our x equal? Yep, I'm going to just come up here. X equals negative 7. Take that answer and now plug it where? Back to where you circled. Okay? You take the answer, plug it back to what's in the circle. So in the circle is y equals 3. Now parentheses negative 7 for x minus 8. So that would be negative 21 minus 8. What is my y going to equal? Negative 21 minus 8. Negative 29. So the answer, the order pair, which is your answer, is negative 7 comma negative 29. Are we okay on that? All right, we're going to stop right there and we'll do the rest of it. Okay? Because we're going to let you do some more practice on the next page. All right. All right, let's go.